Welcome to the Building Up Women in Property podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Bangura, and I'm thrilled to have you here with me today. This podcast is for ambitious women who work in property and construction, who want to learn how to have a career they love on their terms. Join me every week where I'll leave you excited and confident to take your next steps. Thanks for being here with me. Now let's get started. Hello, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Building Up Women in Property podcast. Today we are talking about signs that your career has stalled and, perhaps more importantly, what to do to get unstuck. Because there's nothing worse when you are career orientated to find that your career has just hit a lull and there doesn't seem to be opportunities for progression or to develop yourself anymore. But it can also be hard to know if this is a natural part of your career journey or whether it is actually a reflection that things need to shift in your career and you do need to be pushing forward. And there are definitely some clear signs which will tell you whether you are stuck, whether your career has stalled, and we'll run through those in a moment. But before we get to that, I just want to add a little caveat to this conversation. And that is, you do not need to always be trying to take the next step in your career. In fact, there are times when you want to slow down. You want to really develop your skill and your mastery in the role that you have. And so it's important to know that a successful career is not about getting promoted or changing roles every year. That can often be a sign of a dysfunctional career. This is more about ensuring that you have a career plan that is leading to the role that you want to and that you are enjoying every step of the way. So each role is teaching you something. You are learning, you are developing your skills, and you are earning more money, you're having more impact, more influence in alignment with what your bigger vision is. And so this conversation is really focused for those people who are career orientated, who are looking to progress their career in a strategic and thoughtful and considered way, and who may be feeling stuck at the moment and unsure of how to get traction to take that next step. It's also perfectly natural and appropriate to have stages of your career where you aren't looking at growth. Instead, you're happy just to tread water because you are focused on other areas of your life. This is obviously hugely personal, depending on your journey, depending on your aspirations, depending on your goals, not only for your career, but also for your life and your lifestyle. But it's okay to not always be moving ahead. Today's conversation really is for those people who do want to take that next step, who are hungry for the next opportunity, and how to know if your career has stalled and how to move forward. Okay, so let's jump into these telltale signs. So sign number one is that it feels like Groundhog Day. You show up to work every day, you are performing the same functions, you are almost on autopilot. You know how to do this so well. You are clear on your roles and your responsibilities, and you can deliver without having to think. You could do this job with your eyes shut and your hands tied behind your back. You are that familiar with the process. It probably means that your responsibilities haven't changed in a while, and that familiarity, whilst it can be representative of mastery, it can also be a clear sign that your career has stagnated. You are no longer learning new things. You are no longer being challenged or growing. And that is a clear sign that things need a shake-up, because you never want to be in a space where you're not growing in some way. You want to be having the opportunity to develop new skill sets and new experiences on top of the skill set that you already have. Now, another clear sign is that you haven't been promoted in a while. So if it's been several years in the same role, then that's probably a sign that things need a bit of a kickstart. Now, this is particularly important if other people around you are being promoted as well, right? If you're in the same position and others around you have been promoted or are moving on to new opportunities and new experiences, that is a sign that you're being overlooked or that you're not putting your hand up for those next opportunities. So you're actually keeping yourself in the box where you are rather than pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to explore what is next. Now, you may have changed roles or companies in the last few years, but if you are doing a similar role with a similar title and a similar salary, then that again is another sign that your career has stalled. So even though the employment has changed, you are still functioning in much the same way and you're being rewarded in the same way by the market. Now, another clear sign is that you're being excluded from meetings or situations that you were previously included in. So this might be particular meetings where you were previously part of that group, but you are no longer. Or it might be the colleagues are no longer seeking out your advice. It's a sign that your influence or your perceived value has diminished. So look for those indicators and see what has shifted, what is different now compared to where you were 6 or 12 or 24 months ago. Then finally, if in your performance reviews you are consistently getting feedback that you perform adequately or that you consistently meet expectations, then that is a sign that things need a shake-up. Whilst it's okay to be consistently meeting expectations, that is not where opportunities present themselves. People that are consistently performing at that standard are people that stay in those roles for a long time. They are not perceived as future talent, and you need to be perceived as future talent if you want to take those next steps. If any of those resonate with you, it's a clear sign that you are stuck in your career and you do need to reinvigorate things in order to get those next opportunities, in order to move forward and to create a thriving career that you enjoy and where you are rewarded. But here's the good news. Once you recognize that your career has stalled, that's the moment when you can actually take action in order to revive your career, to find those next opportunities and to reinvigorate your career to take those next steps that you want.
I hope you've been enjoying the episode. I wanted to take a moment to let you know about my free Career Confidence Masterclass. This is for ambitious career-orientated women who are ready to stop playing small and to confidently create a career you love. Head over to my website, beautifuldisruptions.com, for more info. Now let's get back to the episode.
And really, there are 4 key steps we need to take. So first of all, I want you to really get honest with yourself. So think about those signs we've just been through and think about which apply to you and why that's occurred. Sometimes your career will have stalled because of decisions you have made, whether it's to do something or not to do something. For example, you may have decided to not push yourself, right? You may have avoided the opportunities for growth and stretch projects that would challenge you and put you out of your comfort zone. Or similarly, you may have not sought out or explored opportunities for professional growth. You may not have sought out the promotion or the course that would upskill you. So think about what has been within your control. Now, it may also be the result of other factors around you. It could be that you have a manager that is unsupportive of you and that despite your efforts, you aren't getting traction or opportunities. It may be that you've outgrown the company, so your skill set and your next step is not aligned with the organisation that you work for. And so there's actually just no room for you to grow into that next role. So it could be any number of different things. But get honest with yourself and really gather the data, right? Look at your career journey to date and specifically the last few years where you've been in this same role and look at what have been the contributing factors to that. Because the more we know, the more effective action you can take moving forward. Now, step 2 is to get clear on what you want. So what are you actually working towards? What is that next role that you are seeking? What does that look like for you? And ultimately, where do you want to be in 6 months, 6 years, and at the end of your career? Really start to take that long-term view and start to reverse engineer what that career path will look like for you and what you need to do to achieve your career goals. And once you have that clarity, it becomes your North Star and guides you to take the next right move in your career. The third step is to talk to your boss. Have an open, honest conversation about where you are and where you want to go and see what their feedback is. They may have some amazing insight for you. And usually when you ask people questions, they're more than happy to give you feedback because it's also beneficial for them to have a productive and happy employee. And again, they can offer us insight and perspective that we ourselves may not have. So I suggest broaching this in a really honest and open way. Set up some time that is dedicated to talking about your career and your career progression with them so that they know what your expectation from the meeting is, and ask for honest feedback. Now, it's very possible that your boss may give you feedback that you don't like. If that happens, it's okay. I just want you to really listen to what they are saying. Again, use this as an information gathering session. Take on board all of their feedback and then give yourself some time and space to ruminate on it. And again, you'll be able to look at it and say, okay, where is the truth in that? What can I learn from this? What can I do differently? How can I kickstart things? Or how can I gain the skills or experience that they think I am lacking to take this next step? And getting your boss's feedback is so crucial because ultimately they're the person that supports your growth opportunities, whether it's through an internal promotion, whether it's through being a referee, but their insights are invaluable. So be open to the feedback and take the time to really process that feedback and lean on their knowledge and insight to help propel you forward. And then finally, the fourth step is to initiate change. And frankly, this is all on you. This is about deciding you are going to take the next step. Right? And there are lots of ways that you can do this. It might be, how do I start learning again? It may be seeking out those growth opportunities within your existing role. It might be doing a new program. It might be reconnecting with your network and attending industry events. Or it might be getting your resume into shape and starting to apply for jobs that are outside of your comfort zone and being willing to take that next step to push your career forward. This all starts with the decision to take action, to do something differently. Because the truth is, the fact that you're in this situation shows that you are not progressing. If your career has stalled, you need to do something differently to move it forward. So think about what that pathway would look like for you and be really clear on what you are working towards and do the gap analysis, where you are and where you want to be and how do you get from A to B. And you need to do this in a way that is full of compassion for yourself. There is no point beating yourself up for where you are at. Right? You may be feeling stuck in your career for any number of reasons. And what we want to do is use the information we have to hand to push you forward rather than keep you stuck. Dwelling in self-criticism or shame or self-doubt will not move you forward. It will keep you stuck. Be compassionate with yourself. Think about how you can grow into this next iteration of yourself and into this next role and be willing to take the challenge on, take the risk, go for it, and back yourself to find that next right step for you. And if this is something that you want help with, I invite you to reach out to me and we can actually touch base and brainstorm your career and look at how you can move from where you are now to where you want to be. And this is exactly the work I do with my one-on-one clients. I'm happy for you to book in and just do, a complimentary call to get you unstuck. Because as I said, being stuck in this position and wishing for more and hoping for more is frustrating and it can feel lonely and it can feel difficult, and it doesn't need to be because there's always pathways ahead. People need good talent, and there's never been a better time to be a woman in the property and the construction industry. You just need to show up and be willing to do the work to seize those opportunities. And I'm happy to give you my guidance and support to make that happen. So just to reflect, I want you to really take the time to look at where you are, which, if any of those signs resonates with you, and just ask yourself, are you where you want to be? And the fact you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to say you're probably not. So get honest with yourself, then get clear on what it is you want to achieve, and then seek that feedback from your boss or others around you whose opinions you respect and have insight on this. Get that information and use it constructively to move yourself forward. And then get into action. Initiate change. Start doing the things you need to do to get unstuck and to seek out new exciting opportunities for you. Because I've no doubt you are capable of taking that next step and getting into action as soon as possible. And the truth is, the sooner you do this, the sooner you'll start to enjoy work again, the sooner you'll be fulfilled and challenged and excited by what you're achieving in the world through your work. You'll also be rewarded more. And let's be honest, we need to see women earning more throughout their careers. So the sooner that you can get that pay increase, the better it is for you long term, the better it is for your family and your communities. Because to be clear, when women earn more, that money feeds back into our communities. So it's time to get honest about where you are, to confront your situation and to take the action to move you forward. Okay, my beautiful, you have got this. It is time to rattle the cages and start moving forward.
Thank you for joining me on the Building Up Women in Property podcast. I'm Rebecca Bangura, and if you'd like to learn more about what I do, head over to LinkedIn and connect with me. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.